Good morning. Thank you all for joining me on this Sunday, December 3rd. And for this special occasion, I busted this out of the archives in my drawers. It's the original MD Online shirt when the website first began. And I should know this. Was it 2005 or 6? I believe it was 05. So it was a pretty cool logo. I can't think of the guy's name. Oh, he's a very Jerry. Someone will think of it. Amazing artist. Have a few shirts with his logos. Anyway, let's get into the topic, guys. This is something that a lot of guys out there can relate to, whether you're an older guy, younger guy, somewhere in the middle. Do women like muscles? I put girls in the title, but we're not talking about little girls. We're talking about adults here. Women didn't really fit the space on the YouTube thumbnail, so I put girls. And the quick and easy apparent answer should be some of them do and some of them don't. You know, not every guy likes the same type of body, female body. Why would every woman like the same type of male body? But we can get into some very easy evolutionary things that have stuck with us. We've been a species, if you want to call it that, for about 1 million years on this earth. Humans, Homo sapiens sapiens, and we evolved as hunter-gatherers, and men were the hunters out there, going out, hunting the big scary animals, bringing them home to eat, fighting off the rival tribes of early humans, trying to take what's theirs. So women evolved, as men did, to seek protection. It was the man that could protect them the best, offered the best package, which back then was physical attributes: tall, muscular, fierce fighter, someone that could protect them against animals, invaders, anything at all. So these were the most physically viable specimens. So we're talking about guys with very imposing physiques, not by bodybuilding standards, but the bigger, stronger, faster guys back then who were more physically capable than other men tended to rise to the top. And I think if you go back in human history, only a very small percentage of males ever bred, meaning had children. Only the very top men, just kind of like in some primate societies today, like chimpanzees. It's not like all the male chimps are hooking up with female chimps. It's usually like an alpha. He's the father of all the babies in the tribe of chimps, or whatever they're called, a posse of chimps, something like that. So I wanted to have a good discussion with you guys, because I think a lot of us got into bodybuilding, weight training to build up our physiques in hopes that we would become more attractive to the opposite sex. And please forgive me, anybody, if I'm alienating anyone. The reason I made this sort of focused on heterosexual men and women is because that's most of where this discussion typically falls anyway. As far as gay men, homosexual men, they love muscles. There's no, if you don't know that, let me tell you right now, they love muscles. If you've ever gone to a place like Provincetown, Massachusetts, down in Cape Cod in the summertime, tons and tons of jacked gay guys walking around, put a lot of time and effort into their physiques, looking really good, much more so on average than your regular hetero guys. So let me tell my story real quick about why I started, one of the reasons I started, and then we'll get into your comments, observations, opinions. I began weight training around 13 years old. I was in love, or had a big crush on this girl, Nancy, from my church youth group. Nancy had two celebrity crushes. One was Arnold Schwarzenegger, obviously. This was around 1983, 84. So he was the top box office star. She had a poster of Arnold. I can't remember which movie it was from. And the other one was Kerry Von Erich, who was a wrestler from Texas. Some of you who follow pro wrestling and you're a little older, you'll remember the Von Erich brothers. Kerry was the most muscular, rest in peace. He had a bodybuilder type physique. He had this long, curly rock star hair, a jaw like you wouldn't believe, like a big square jaw, good looking guy, just oozed masculinity. And she had a poster for him. So, I was invisible to her. I was just a friend. I was always just a friend. I was very small. I started puberty late, very short compared to most of the kids in my class. I was always either the shortest kid in my class at that time, or there might have been someone with like a real condition, like dwarfism, that was actually shorter. So I started training to build up my body, get some muscles, and I would hope that Nancy would like me, and maybe other girls would like me too. It did help in many ways. It boosted my confidence, because one thing about having a body that you're proud of versus a body that you're ashamed of is now you can walk with a little more confidence and swagger. And, you know, women love confidence. I mean, I think people love confidence in general. It's something that feels good to be around, rather than someone who's like down on himself and looking at the ground, doesn't make eye contact. And, you know, that's the type of person most people don't want to associate with those people. But confident people, especially if they're not arrogant about it, they just have a real quiet confidence and they make you feel good around them. Anyway, it definitely helped. It helped me over the years. I mean, I know things have changed a lot, but I think women are still attracted to fit bodies, not necessarily bodybuilder physiques. The type of women, and you guys can talk about your experiences, the type of women that like a bodybuilder physique, that's a special breed of woman. It's typically women that are very, very serious about weight training and eating right and live that lifestyle themselves. The average woman might be interested in like a bodybuilder physique for like a one night thing, just for fun, just to try out that body and how it feels, I guess. But they don't want a relationship, most of them, unless they're in that lifestyle. A, because it's kind of instills, it brings out their insecurities because they're not in great shape. And B, because it's a very demanding lifestyle. You know, we put a lot of time and effort going to the gym, cooking our food, eating the 5-6 meals a day. That's so time consuming that most women who have no interest in working out or eating like that, they wouldn't want to put up with it for long. They just get so annoyed. Like, oh my God, you're eating again? You just ate. Or we're going somewhere and you got to worry about your food. And she's like, why is this such a big deal? You always have to worry about eating. So let's get into your stuff because that's what we're here. We're here live to talk to you guys. So let's start with the first one. This actually came in last night. The Spritzo says, I've been lifting since I was 14. I have a pretty darn good physique for 56. So we're actually similar in age. I'm 54. I look much younger as I do not smoke, drink, or do drugs. Girls, guys, trans, in my experience, like symmetry, not mass. Yeah, I would definitely say that most women would prefer a guy who's muscular but athletic, not huge muscular to the point where he's got some chest, some shoulders, some arms. They love abs. You know, you want to be lean. Not too many women are genuinely attracted to a chubbier guy. They might say they like the dad bod, but pay attention not just men and women. Pay attention to their actions, not their words. So if someone says, this is what I like, but then you see them with a totally different kind of person, you know that that's what they really like, especially if it's consistent. If they say, oh, I don't like guys who are in shape, you know, blah, 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 but then you see them with guys who are in shape over and over again. Or if they say, I don't like guys who are criminals and thugs, but that's who you see them with, well, that's what you are attracted to. And nobody can really control their attraction. Attraction can't be negotiated. Someone said that. I wish I knew who it was, but it's so true. Everybody likes what they like. You can't force yourself to like something or someone that you don't like. I mean, be attracted to. You can't feel that attraction. You can't make yourself feel attracted. You can't make anyone else feel attracted to you unless they're already genuinely attracted. It's something that's, I don't know. It's visual. It's chemical. It's a pheromones. It's all kinds of weird things. Ah, yes. Desktop Bodybuilding is Xavier Wills, and I was honored to be a guest on his show. The other night we recorded, it was actually daytime over there in Australia. He's in New South Wales, Australia. Appreciate you joining my live, Xavier. And we did 2 episodes for his, he does a series called What's the Word? They're shorter videos where we talk about one subject. It's not my show. But he had me as a guest on with 2 gentlemen. Their names escape me. One was a 6-time Mr. Australia, really cool guy. The other one is a master trainer, a big dude, who is an expert with that newbie machine that Brad Rowe is always using on, you know, Mike Tyson and other celebrities like that. So now I can tell you about Des. He says, I had one of those t-shirts on. I thought Muscle was a key one. Yeah, these are cool. Jerry, what the heck's Jerry's last name? He's had booths at the Arnold Olympia. Really good, great artist. I love that style, the comic book style with the muscles. Yeah, we all thought that. We all thought, if I get big and jacked, women are going to love me. We didn't realize, well, you have to have confidence. You have to have some kind of personality, what they call game. You can't just be big and buff. I've known so many guys over the years because I've been in the bodybuilding world and around gyms and around bodybuilders for decades and decades. I've known tons and tons of guys who are jacked, but they had no personality or they were afraid of women. They had no confidence. They did not do well with the ladies. I've known plenty of other guys who were decent physiques, nothing special, but they were very charismatic, you know, funny. They knew how to talk to women, and they did very, very well. That guy 6 says, the women love my muscles. There you go. Yeah. I mean, there's always, when I say that women don't like the big bodybuilder look, it's a very small group of women that likes the bodybuilder look, the big freaky bodybuilder look. And any of you who are a little older and have been around gyms, you probably know there was a girl or two or three at your gym who sort of made the rounds with all the bodybuilder guys because that's what she liked. So she would basically sleep with all the big buff dudes. Hopefully they weren't married. But what are you going to do? Giles, this is Giles Thomas. I think he needs no introduction. Giles Tiger Thomas, my partner in crime on many, many MD shows. Our Power Hour was the last one we did. That was a great show. Had a good run, about a year. But we're going to be doing more stuff. We're going to be collaborating more in the future for sure. He says, identify as a tiger. So that's fair. You can do that. You don't have to be a male, female, or anything. You can identify as a bottle of water if you really want to and fight for your bottle of water rights. Ron went to church. I have gone to church. Yeah. I haven't been to church in a few years, to be honest with you, but I did go to church, yeah, for a long, long time. So now, Giles, this is Xavier and Giles talking to each other. Who the heck is Jeremy Jazowinski? I don't know. Who is that? Was I supposed to know that? It's Giles is letting him know it's snowing over there in the UK. Jerry Beck. Thank you, Jerry Beck. Yeah. A lot of the bodybuilders, like I have a couple Ronnie Coleman shirts with the design on the back that Jerry made of Ronnie, which are a little more exaggerated than what Ronnie really looked like. Ronnie already looked like a cartoon character. So you can imagine what an artist like that could do with his physique as a model. Jerry Beck, I think you're right, Charles. Good point. Got to have game. Yeah, this is Joe Toth, the former Mr. Ohio. Post some really cool throwback pictures if you want to follow him on Instagram. Had a heck of a crab, most muscular, really thick, dense chest. Yeah, the point about having game, I mean, a lot of times you'll see, bodybuilders, I think a lot of us put too much emphasis, obviously, on our physical appearance, or we wouldn't be able to look the way that we look. But at the same time, I think we attribute too much importance to it as far as relating with women and how women are going to see you and be attracted to you. Like I said, if you have no personality, and especially if you have no confidence, if you're someone who has that simp mentality where you put every woman on a pedestal and you think, oh my gosh, this is the only woman for me. There's no more women in the world. If you have that, you come from a place of lack rather than a place of abundance, and you're really afraid. Women sense that right away. Just like, animals, predators can smell fear. Women can smell the lack of confidence, even if you're trying to fake it and use those dopey lines that the pickup artists, they throw at you. Say this to women, say that. They give you like a script or something. Go into a bar and say this. Good luck with that, dude, because it's not going to come across as genuine. It's going to be very insincere. And I'm not believe me, I'm not a pickup expert in anything. I'm not even claiming that for half a second. You had a bad experience with Beck? Oh no. Too bad experience. Remember what Diana Ross said about muscles? I'd throw the video up, but I'd get a copyright strike. But Diana Ross had a song Joe was pointing out was it called Muscles or I Love Muscles? I think the chorus was I Want Muscles or I Love Muscles. Obviously, we're going back in time. That was probably early 80s, that song. Olivia Newton had a song called Let's Get Physical. The video had a lot of aerobics going on in it. Yeah. But, I've noticed some weird trends as far as which type of women have been attracted. Obviously, gay men find muscles very attractive. I've had a lot of them compliment me or even try to flirt with me. I'd say that the majority of DMs I get, if they're flirty, I get a lot of DMs that have nothing to do with flirting. It's a very small percentage, but the ones that are flirty typically come from gay men. Very rarely do I get one from women. And on Facebook, I'd say I get a lot more flirty people. I get like friend requests and people just starting to say, hi, how you doing? And I see a lot of them are these really beautiful women, but they're not really beautiful women. That's a catfish thing. If you do the image search, you'll find a lot of them. They're just, it's people using, models' photos as their profile pictures. And a lot of times it turns out they're gay men because they want to talk to bodybuilder dudes or good looking dudes or whatever. And I don't claim to be good looking, but I am a bodybuilder. Yeah. Giles, appreciate you joining us. So the time over there at the Tone in the UK, I keep saying England, the time will be, it should be 2:14 p.m. Yeah. Yeah, so Giles typically this is the day Giles will be recording it was called MD Global Muscle. I really hope that very soon he starts back Global Muscle with his own channel. Amazing show, crazy good production values. Giles has built a full professional podcasting studio in his house a few years ago. It's called On the Rise Media. It's fully outfitted. It looks so professional with the table and the big microphones, the backdrops, the lighting. So it would be a shame to see that go away. He's got to come back. Plus, he's an amazing interviewer. He has his pulse on the world bodybuilding scene, but in particular, there's guys from Europe that I never ever heard of. Probably about 300, 400, 500 times that Giles would talk about them and interview them long before the rest of us sort of caught on to how good they were. So bring that back. Let's stay on topic. I'll try to stay on topic. You guys are talking a lot. So Giles says, remember when I told that girl at the Arnold after party that was M16, M16, not M16 the gun, M16 being like the British Secret Service type of spies kind of thing. 23 minutes mates were nodding at my game. Yeah, see, Giles, great example. Giles is a guy that's got what we call game. He is a bodybuilder, he's got a good physique, but there are a lot of guys with way better physiques than Giles who would never, ever get the type of female attention because Giles is, well, he's a good looking guy, very well spoken, funny, confident, charming. You know, women like that. They don't just gravitate towards a look. You can't be a physique with nothing else. You might, if you're lucky, get someone, you know, a woman who just wants to take you home for one night and you'll never see her again here from. Maybe that's all you want. I don't know. But even so, your odds of accomplishing even that with no personality and no game, no confidence, no swagger, very, very low, very low. I go back to gyms. I belonged to probably 30 gyms over the years. Yeah, at least. And there were always a few guys there. Great physiques, usually better than mine, which isn't saying a whole lot. There was always a bunch. I've never had the best physique of any gym I belonged to. But, you know, they were always ogling the women or like, you know, looking longingly at the women. Some of them they were so afraid they would never even attempt to talk to them. Others, if they did, they would say something really goofy and off-putting. And, you know, that would just sort of repel the women. It's just, you got to have it all. Because like I said, these guys had great physiques. Some of them were good looking guys, not great looking. You know, it's funny. They've done Tinder experiments where they've created like a fake profile using a picture of a guy who's athletically built, not huge, beautiful, like a 10 out of 10 face. I guess you can't say beautiful for a man, super handsome man, like a Henry Cavill, that as good looking as a Henry Cavill, you know, perfect features. And in the profile, they'd list all kinds of things like convicted felon, unemployed. They tried to make him sound as unappealing as possible in the actual description of themselves. And they were still getting a million messages from women and matches. And the guy they were trying to discourage the women saying, you know, I'm on parole. I have an ankle bracelet. And the women were like, that's okay. That's okay. Or, you know, I was in jail for assaulting a bunch of women. They'd be like, that's okay. That's okay. Because he was so good looking. So on dating apps, when that's purely visual, they're just they're looking at pictures and trying to pick the ones they like. Let me talk about dating apps just for a second. You know, a lot of guys get upset, and, you know, it doesn't matter to me. I've been married for 32 years, but a lot of guys who are on dating apps get upset because it's very hard to hear back from women unless you're super, super good looking, like the top 5% best looking. But the way I look at it is women have so many options because there's 2 or 3 times more men on dating apps than there are women. So they have all these dudes coming at them day and night, matching with them, sending them messages. It's overwhelming for them. So think about it this way. If I like car analogies, I'm not a huge car buff, but say there was this lot of cars in front of you, 1,000 different cars, all the way from the most beat up, old, dented, rusted pieces of crap with 300,000 miles on them and the missing hubcaps and the fenders, the bumpers falling off, all the way up to Bugattis and Lamborghinis. And someone said, you can have any of these cars, any of them. You can drive any of these you want. They're yours for the taking. Would you pick the crappiest car or would you pick the best car? You got 1,000 options for you. Of course you pick the best car. They said you can have any car you want. I'd pick the best car. So women are picking their best options. And women can and do they're hypergamous. They can sleep up, meaning a woman who's maybe like a 5 on the scale of 1 to 10 in looks, a guy who's a 7, 8, 9, maybe even a 10, probably not a 10. They will, you know, match with them and message them and sleep with them. They'll say, come on over and Netflix and chill. They don't want a relationship with them, but they can get men who are way better looking than them. Conversely, it's much less likely that a man can get a woman who's way better looking than him. Typically, he'd have to be ultra wealthy. I mean, that's the standard that we've been seeing for many, many years. Super wealthy guys with hot women. And a lot of times the guys are nothing special to look at. But let's go back. That guy 6. My training partner has a really good physique, good looking guy, but has terrible game. Can't articulate himself well and isn't well spoken and has terrible luck with women. Once he speaks, it's over. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've all seen the scenario. You've probably this has probably happened to you, where maybe you're in some setting, a party, a bar, a club, I don't know, somewhere where there's a huge group of people. And let's say you were a single man at the time. You know, for me, that was 1942, the last time I was single. But you're a single guy, and you're sort of catching eye contact with this woman who you're attracted to, and you go over and you say something, you want to say something clever, but it ends up coming out wrong. And you put there's a phrase, you put your foot in your mouth. You said something that just didn't come out right. You sound stupid, or you just sound lame. And she might smile and walk away, and she'll say something like, I gotta go see what my friends are up to, or I gotta use the bathroom. And that's the end. That was your shot. You took your shot, but you got shot down because your game sucked. It's so true. I mean, and I'm not here to tell you how to do it, because I don't know. I was never a pickup artist. I never had a harem of women or anything, but I've been around and watched. I do a lot of people watching, and especially when you're a married guy in these settings, since you're not there to participate in the mating rituals, you can sort of take a step back and look at it totally objectively and watch the interactions between them. It's just interesting. It's fun for me, because there's a local band that I haven't seen them since I tore my quad, but a local band that plays different bars and pubs and grills and pubs and things around my area. And I go to see them sometimes, usually by myself, because my wife doesn't particularly care for the band, doesn't think they're that great. So I'll just sit there and watch the band, and then I'll watch the people and see what's going on and try to eavesdrop. It's hard because my hearing sucks, but I do watch a lot of the interaction between men and women, because I find it fascinating. It's kind of like for me watching a nature documentary or something, Desktop. So Xavier Willis here, all the way in Australia, had some friends that I didn't think were good looking, but I think their confidence or whatever it was seemed to work. It's interesting. I have other friends that have zero clue how to talk to women. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how people get good at talking to women, other than maybe doing it a lot. I think one thing that probably helps is if you grew up around a lot of women. Say I know guys who grew up with a lot of sisters tend to be better with women. I grew up, there's 7 of us in my family. There were, one passed. There was 5 brothers. I'm the second youngest, and 2 older sisters. The sisters are way older. So I was born in 1969. My sisters were born in 1957, 56 and 57. So they were 12 and 13 years older than me. They were out of the house by the time I can remember. The oldest one got married at 16, had a first baby at 16. So I didn't really have just my mom, and I didn't have too much interaction with my mom in that aspect. But I think guys who grow up around women and are comfortable around women, especially if they're comfortable around good-looking women, they're not intimidated by women. Women can sense that fear, just like, a predator can smell your fear, and that you could be hiding behind a tree 30 feet away, and that wolf will go, there he is. I'm going to go eat him right now. So I do think that helps. Having female friends helps. Anything that sort of helps you get past that frame of mind where you think women are this entire other species, and they're up here on this pedestal, and we men are down here in the gutter, and we have to really treat them as these goddesses and stuff. And I know I won't get into. I've seen a lot of the red pill videos. I've had my mind poisoned somewhat by the red pill videos in the manosphere, but I do think there's a lot of truth to the things they say. Is that women do not respect men who put them up on a pedestal. And one of the phrases you'll hear a lot of times is, treat her like a celebrity and she'll treat you like a fan. And women can't have respect for someone who values them so much more than they value themselves. It's, they don't want this arrogant guy who's going to treat them like crap. Supposedly, they do end up with a lot of those guys, because those guys, it's not because of that. It's because those guys tend to be uber masculine. Women are really, really drawn to masculinity, something that's the total opposite of, women are becoming more masculine now since the past few decades, but still their innate desire is for a very masculine man. And I feel awful for the young men of the USA because society, feminism has spent the last few decades emasculating American men, trying to make them less masculine because masculinity is toxic. And so we have this whole young generation of guys now, this Gen Z. A lot of them are what we call soy boys. They're not masculine. They're not strong in character. They're not strong in body. They don't have a lot of ambition and drive. And, you know, the women said that's what they wanted. They said that's what they wanted. But like I said, look at actions. Don't look at words. They said they wanted men who were sensitive, not so tough guy. But who's doing well with the women now out of that Gen Z? It's the really masculine ones. It's the tough guys. It's a lot of times it's the taller, athletic, tattooed, tatted up, really, you know, almost like caricatures of masculinity. I don't know about you guys, but at my gym, and I'm sure this is not by far, this is nothing out of the ordinary. It's the guys we're talking about the single people here. The guys who are really, really masculine, tough guys, usually taller. At my gym, there's a lot of tall guys. Like 6 foot is not tall at my gym. I don't know why. It's weird. Those are the guys that clean up. They've dated most of the hot girls in the gym, if not all of them. When I say dated, I mean they've slept with. Let's keep going. 2:14. Oh, we're getting an update on the time over in the UK. At the tone, the time will be. Giles and Xavier talking to each other. Well, Ron, what up with Muscular Development? Will they be back? No, they will not. Muscular Development is not coming back, if you haven't heard, because there was no official announcement. And I didn't feel it was my place to do that. It's not my company. I was an employee. I know I was the face of MD that you saw all the time. But in the end, in the grand scheme of things, I was really just an employee, as evidenced by the fact that the owner of the company decided to shut down operations and retire, and all the employees were let go the same day, a little over 2 weeks ago. It was November 14th. So yeah, MD will not be back unless somebody comes along and makes Steve Bleckman an offer to buy it, a reasonable offer, not like $500 or something. I still had access. I think I still have access to the MD Instagram page. And in the private messages, someone said, I'll buy this Instagram page off you for $500. I don't know who they were addressing it. They don't know who they're talking to. It's just MD, but no. So yeah, I mean, there's a YouTube channel still with 334,000 subscribers. There was a print magazine, obviously, that just printed its final issue. This was the final issue. If you have one of those, hold on to it. I remember that day, a bunch of people were going out and seeing if they could buy copies of it, because maybe that'll be worth something someday. David Bay, who was the online editor before me, he messaged me. He said he went out to a couple bookstores and he bought up like 6 or 8 copies, because maybe the last issue of MD will be worth something someday. Who knows? But if somebody comes along with an offer to Steve, says, I want to buy the brand, because I do believe the brand has worth. It's not worthless. It's worth something. So if someone came along, made Steve an offer saying, I'm going to buy the MD brand from you, here's how much I want to give you, and they negotiate, and if Steve was happy with the terms, I could see MD coming back. Have no idea if I would be part of it or not. I'm most likely not. If somebody bought a whole new company and wanted to totally do it their way, why would they bring back all the old employees? That would be silly. I would bring on a whole new team if I spent the money and started a new company. So Giles bangs 10s. Giles has been with some very, very attractive women. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Guys will say, no, liar. But he has. I mean, I know I've said this before, because a lot of, we talk about now, like, women won't date under 6 foot, and you have to be over 6 foot or you can't get a date. That is a very defeatist way of thinking. A lot of women do prefer taller men, and that's their screen that they'll put on their Tinder or Hinge or Match, whatever profiles is looking for. And one of the filters is 6 foot or above, or sometimes even 6'2" or above. But if a guy has all these other things and he's shorter, a good example is a good friend of mine, Jose Raymond. He's 5'3.5". Obviously, he had one of the best physiques in the world. He won the Arnold Classic 212. He was second place at the Olympia 212. He won 12 pro shows. Great physique. Amazing personality. So charismatic. He could talk to anybody, but especially super charming around women. So I've known Jose for about 30 years now. And he has had some of the most amazing women, both in long-term relationships and just ones I've seen him connect with on a short term. 10s. I'm talking 10s. slamming bodies. These are, a lot of them are competitors, beautiful, gorgeous faces. He's 5'3.5". Didn't matter, man. I've seen women and they were just drawn to him. So, I don't want anyone who's under 6 foot, because it's only like 15% of all men in the US that are 6 foot or over. It's not a lot of guys. Average male height is 5'9", which means most guys are 5'7" to 5'11". They're somewhere in that range. They're a couple inches shorter, they're in that range. That's average. So, they can't ever have sex or get a girlfriend or get married, or no, they can't do anything. That's ridiculous. Just had to bring that up. We want Ron and Giles on desktop. Well, it's not our channel, guys. It's Xavier's channel. I just filmed two short episodes with Xavier that I hope he'll be putting up soon for his desktop bodybuilding. So I'm sure he'd want Giles on. Giles is great. Never done a dating app? Well, why would you? Was recommended once by a friend and went on the profile picture of a Giles. What dating app was that, Giles? I don't know what dating app that was. Yeah, dating apps. If you want to see how crappy they are, hear from people's experiences, in your YouTube search bar, put dating apps bad for men or something like that, and thousands of videos will come up telling you exactly why dating apps are horrible for men. They're completely skewed towards women. Women have all the options, and a lot of men will tell you that they've signed up for Tinder or Match or whatever, Hinge, Bumble, all these apps, and they might get a couple messages in the beginning, private messages, but those are robots. Those are just to hook you and make you think, oh boy. And it's always like some beautiful, beautiful picture, like a supermodel. And it's like, hey, saw your pic or whatever. It looks like they're starting a conversation, but that's a robot. And you reply, you never hear back after that. But that was enough to get you hooked. Like, oh boy, there's some hot girls on here, and they're reaching out to me. And it never happens again. And you're paying this monthly fee. I think even, was it one of them, I don't know if it was Match or Tinder. One of them recently told men, or offered to men, that they could pay like $500 a month, $500 US a month, to make their profiles for like a VIP platinum super mega level membership, where your profile would be shown to more women. Because that's another thing, is your profile doesn't get out to that many women. It doesn't go out to all of them. They don't all see it. It's like invisible to most of them. But anyway, yeah, dating apps, they're a waste of time for men. Unless you're super, super good looking, that is the prime and pretty much only. It's already been established that most women do not read the profiles. They don't care. They don't want to know anything about you, except that you're super good looking. If you're a super good looking, crazy handsome guy, dating apps, you will kill it on dating apps. Then again, you probably don't even need it. You probably have women coming at you in real life, but now you have your phone where they're just blowing up your phone all the time. So we have this new polygamous society that's sort of arisen, and in large part to dating apps, because, especially, I hate to put it this way, but promiscuity has sort of been normalized. It used to be a very, very shameful thing for women. Women were supposed to be pure and chaste, and if a woman was promiscuous or even rumored to be promiscuous, she had a bad reputation. Other women made fun of her. They shunned her. She was a pariah, basically. And now these are like the boss babes, the ones that they brag about. I have slept with 100 guys or 50 guys or 100 guys or 500 guys. And it's like a badge of honor to them. And they feel empowered by, they own their bodies and they own their sexuality. So it's commonplace for them to just sort of shop around on dating apps, say, who will I be with tonight? And they'll just pick the very best looking guys in their area. And Netflix and chill, as they say, I guess, right? There's no dating at all. The guy just shows up at her place, or she shows up at his place, but bang, 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 someone's out the door. See ya. Yeah, dating apps. So that's how dating apps are a very, very good idea for the best looking men. If you're an average looking guy, or especially if you're a below average looking guy, do not waste your time or money on dating apps. I've heard nothing but horror stories, frustration, and disappointment from guys on dating apps. Most guys who are either average looking or below average looking. And an interesting fact, men find 60% of all women at least somewhat attractive when they've showed like flashcards. What do you think? What do you think? Do you like her? Do you like her? 60% of all women that men see, they're at least somewhat attracted to. Like they would have sex with them. For women are far more selective. It's 20%, which means they consider 80% of all men as not attractive enough or unattractive, that they're not worthy of their time and energy and attention. So right there you can see, and that's why we say, work on yourself, guys, work on yourself. I keep messing this phrase up, but they guys say just focus on yourself, focus on your career, focus on your hobbies, your friends, your family. One thing it says is you'll always lose money chasing women. You will never lose women chasing money. That just sounds like all women are gold diggers. And I don't believe that's true at all anymore. I think women make more money now. Gen Z, the kids who are in their 20s now, this is the first generation in human history, in U.S. history at least, I'm sure in human history as well, where the women are actually out earning the men. The females are out earning the males. It's never happened before, but that's Gen Z right now. They're far more educated. Far more women in that age range have college degrees now than men. The amount of women in colleges and universities in the U.S. now, it's like, I think it's 65% women. It's way more than half. Men just aren't going to college as much. Now, unfortunately, I feel horrible for this generation of young men because a lot of them they have no ambition. They have no hope, dreams. They play video games, watch porn, smoke pot. That's it. That's their day and night. And they live with mommy and daddy or whatever. They work some job that's just enough to buy their incidentals because they're probably living rent free and everything. And they can't afford a home. Homes here in the US, the prices are outrageous now. Outrageous. I know a few people who make almost six figures, like $80,000, $90,000 a year, which, that's not a ton of money, but you would think that would be enough to afford a home, right? No, it's not in most of the US. You can't even buy a house now if you make under 100,000. I have my son-in-law makes far beyond that. He does very well. He can't even afford to put a down payment on a house that he wants in Miami yet. I mean, it's tough out there. Well, what the hell were we talking about? Does anybody remember? Giles was talking about the dating app. So get an acting coach to a personal trainer. Nah, see, that's the thing. I don't believe in acting, Joe Toth from Ohio. I don't think that works either because you're going to come across as insincere, not genuine. I think you can always get a sense of when somebody's putting on an act, a character, where they're spitting out lines rather than just it's just organically coming from their actual what they really want to talk about. I don't think that works. The pickup artists, these PUAs, pickup artists, they charge men thousands of dollars to take their courses, or they take them out to bars and clubs and they try to show them game. And I don't think it's very successful because typically, like I said, if you're very good looking and you have good game, yeah, there's your success rate is going to be very high. If you're not very good looking, you have great game, but it's genuine game, you'll probably still have a good amount of success. If you're not very good looking and your game is completely fake and put on, I don't think you're going to do that well. You're probably going to be alone and using that right hand a lot. Yeah, now Giles is changing the subject. How dare you, Giles? Rubiel Nexzilla. It's funny about Nexzilla. I think the most likes I ever got on Instagram picture on my Instagram page, Ron Harris Muscle, was one of Hadi Choopan after he won. I think I got like 50,000 likes on that. And I was like, wow, I almost have 100,000 likes for a picture I posted of Rubiel backstage in Prague next to Tim Budasheim. It was just a picture like a hand on hip, most muscular with his quads looking all freaky in his neck. So yeah, people love him. Xavier is keeping it on topic. Thank you, Xavier. He says that's 100% true. Women will typically go to the better looking guys until they get sick of guys that might be just looking for sex, I think. Good point, Xavier. It tends to follow an age pattern. When women are younger, say when they're in their late teens, all through their 20s, it's all about just good looking guys, studs, stallions, bad boys. Guys who have mystery or danger about them. They're exciting because you don't know what's going to happen next with them. They're not reliable. They're not going to call you back. They're not going to text you back. They might dump you at any moment. You don't know where you stand with them, but they thrive when they're younger on that chaos and drama. It's exciting. Women love drama. Why do you think soap operas for decades and decades have had huge TV ratings? If you don't know what soap operas are, my God, how young are you? Women were the audience members. They love that. This guy sleeping with that one, and this one had a secret child by that one, and this one, they love that stuff. It's just gets them all thrilled and gives them the butterflies. As they get older, the biological clock starts ticking, whether they want kids or not, but they feel this like a drive to settle down. And they know these guys are never going to settle down. They finally figured out, it takes most of them, some of them never learn, just like a lot of men never learn important things either. But eventually they figure out that the men that they want commitment and security from, provisioning, take care of me, be my man only, don't see other women. The men that they want that the most from are the least likely to give it to them, because those men have so many options now. I read we were talking about how like it's becoming more polygamous. There's a full 1/3 of men now that aren't having any, men between 18 and 30, 1/3 of them have not had sex either ever or in the last year. 1/3. I think for women, it's only like 10%. It's 33% of all men now. And what was it? The average man has something like 4 or 5 sexual partners. The average guy, it might have been like 8 or something. It was under 10. I know that. And the top 5% of men right now, as far as sexually active, the top 5% of men had at least 150 bodies or partners in their past. So things are getting very, very skewed. But back to what Xavier was talking about. So a lot of women, when they get a little older, 30, 35, maybe some of them it takes until they're 40, that's when they start looking to settle down. And you'll see them in their dating profile saying, tired of the games, meaning they're tired of guys just pumping and dumping them. I've had my fun, meaning they've slept around with a ton of guys. And now I'd really like to meet a nice guy and settle down. So the nice guy, that's when they start looking for these other characteristics. Some guy who's a good earner. He's loyal. He's faithful. He's respectful. He's going to treat her very well. He's not going to cheat on her. Problem is she's probably not going to be terribly attracted, because like I said, you can't negotiate attraction. This is the guy that the woman knows is best for her in the long run. She can have a family with this guy. He's going to take care of his kids. The bad boys aren't going to take care of his kids. He's going to deny paternity. He's going to run off. This is when you ask him for money for the baby, he's going to be like, nah, screw you. Because he's got so many options. He's never going to settle down. He's always got a ton of women after him. There's no reason for him to do that. These guys that she's going to start looking at later, they've had much fewer partners, fewer options. They don't have women chasing them. They're going to be good husbands, good fathers. They're probably not going to be the guy she'd really rather be with. She would love if that guy, the great-looking, dangerous bad boy, would change his ways and settle down and be with her. That's like the romantic fantasy you've seen in a million movies and TV shows. The woman's love changes the guy and makes him settle down. Pure fantasy, pure Hollywood fiction. Most of these guys never change. They never settle down. So, yeah, that's like I said, they get sick of being treated like crap, getting used and abused. These guys that just have sex with them and they never call them again, or they find out that this guy they're just one of maybe 10 or more women at the time that this guy's seeing. You're just part of a rotation. You're his Thursday night girl. He's got a Friday night girl. He's got a Saturday morning girl, a Saturday night girl. Anyway, but like I said, it leads to a lot of problems, because these women will marry these guys or get into relationships, maybe marry these guys who they're not attracted to. These guys are great husbands, but the women get bored, because to them, these guys are boring because they've been with these exciting, really good looking guys. So they're not really attracted to these guys. These guys don't keep them interested or thrilled. So what happens? One day comes, she says, I'm not happy. I want a divorce. And this poor guy who's put everything, he supported this woman. He's helped her raise the kids. He's left out in the cold. He might lose his house. He might not see his kids, maybe like one weekend a month or something. It's awful. I don't believe me. I don't have all the answers to that, guys. I just thought I'd bring it up. Enjoying this chat. Thank you. I appreciate you joining us, Xavier, on this Sunday. Let's try to do the timing for Xavier now. Xavier is 14 hours ahead of East Coast. He calls it New York time because Boston isn't as popular as New York. So if he is, let's do 9:44 p.m. Holy crap. Is it 1:44 a.m. for you, Xavier? If so, please go to bed. I appreciate your support, but go to sleep, dude. Get your sleep. We need sleep. Very, very important. Wow. Xavier says, I heard looking in someone's left eye makes you more trustworthy to other people, apparently. I just saw that recently. Oh, well. Yeah, there's all these things. I never really looked into it, but they say if someone looks a certain way when they're saying something, that means they're lying, or they're being deceitful. There's a lot of little like body cues with the eyes and the hands and stuff that you can pick up on. You know, that's why like super highly trained in the FBI, people like who are, you know, super cops, basically, you know, special agents, they're trained to look for all those things. Left eye or cleavage. Am I good friends with Vince Goodrum? Melvin, as his real name is. We chat here and there on Facebook. I mean, I wouldn't say good friends. Just, I was a young uncle, Ron. Well, the funny thing about it, I don't want to go off in too much. So my sister Robin had my nephew Michael in August of 1972. My mother had just had my younger brother, who was the seventh and final child, Steve, in July. They're 1 month apart. So my mother and my sister had children 1 month apart. So he was an even younger uncle. He was 1 month old and he was already an uncle. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, 16 years old, 16 and pregnant. Guys are all talking to Xavier. That's fine. Go to bed. Go to get some tests. Get some tests. I have some SIP. I mean, it's prescribed from Frontline Alternative. Michael Mato. Good morning, Ron. I was tuning in. Michael Nico Matos. Some do and don't. Most women love the physique look. Yeah, like I said, it was crazy how they try to push this fake, false narrative on us. And women were kind of backing it up, saying, we love dad bods. We love dad bods, you know, like a belly, flabby, no muscle, skinny fat with like a little belly. No woman, if you give them a choice, two guys have the same exact personality, status. You know, women love high status guys. Everything else being equal, but one guy's trim and athletic and fit and muscular, and the other one's sloppy looking, and the face is the same. You really think they're going to pick the guy with the sloppy body over the guy with the hard chiseled body? Come on now, don't be ridiculous. You're looking at my, sorry, I have two lazy eyes. Big Mike Cox, living in the Tampa, Florida area, originally from Cleveland, Ohio. How do you know that? Because he's got a tattoo right here with the outline of the state of Ohio and the area code, for old area code 216, right? Yeah. Good morning, Michael. Good morning. Mikey, some sort of time zone as me. Oof. Yeah. Xavier, really, I implore you, go to sleep. I very much appreciate you being part of this, but it's so late. I'm a big baby. If I stay up past, I'd say like midnight, for me, that's very late these days as an older man. I can't even imagine. You know, Xavier stays up and covers shows in his time zone. He's up all through the night sometimes. Giles has done it too in Europe when some of these shows here have gone late, especially if they're on the west coast of the U.S., which is 3 hours behind me, which puts them like 8 hours behind Giles. Yeah, oof. I don't know how you guys do it. Good collection of shoes. I've thrown away a lot of them. You know, I don't have any. I don't collect. I'm not a sneakerhead. I don't collect them in boxes, and I wear all my sneakers. I know a lot of these guys, they collect sneakers. They never take them out of the boxes. They're literally just collecting them like you would collect, I don't know, trading cards or stamps or knives or something. I don't know. What do people collect? Coins. Yeah, I'm not like that. Big Lenny will take over Muscular Development. Well, if Big Lenny comes up with a big chunk of money and comes at Steve Bleckman and says, I'll give you X amount of dollars for the MD brand. And Steve is independent. He's a wealthy man he's been running companies for over 40 years. He's made a lot of money over the years. Twin Lab was him and his brothers own that, the mega huge supplement company in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah, if someone makes an offer, I could see Muscular Development coming back. I do think it would probably be a whole new team of people. I don't think they'd want to bring me and everyone back. I could be wrong, but I'm just speculating. Typically, when people buy companies, they might have someone from the old company act as a consultant in the beginning, just to help train or transition the newer people. But typically, when someone comes along and buys a company, they bring in their own team, people that they know and trust and they're familiar working with already. Yeah, Dan Solomon told me that an MD brand has a lot of value. I mean, think about it. So the magazine just wrapped up in the year 2023. It's been around as Muscular Development since 1965 or 6. Prior to that, it was called Strength and Health. Bob Hoffman was the publisher, the editor, the publisher. John Grimmick used to be the editor-in-chief of that, if anyone knows who that is. So yeah, decades and decades of the print magazine. The website, I don't know, websites aren't as big a deal. The forum was a lot of fun. It was picking up a lot lately too, the No Bull forum. But the YouTube channel, that's 334,000. That's nothing to sneeze at. You know, and someone could come along and really build that. Someone who's really media savvy and YouTube savvy, they could come along and come up with content and other things to really drive that over 1 million subs, I bet. Me, I'm not the one to do it. I started this channel for myself again. This channel dates back to 2006. I won't say I was one of the first people on YouTube, but compared to a lot of people out there now, I was one of the first people on YouTube. I was just uploading crappy little clips from, video clips from my digital camera they look so pixelated and crappy, but they're all in the video archives here now. If you want to check some of them out, they're pretty hilarious to look at. Why didn't he at least leave the boards up? Not really sure, Mike. Not really sure. I suspect it was like a monthly fee that he's like, well, if I'm shutting the company down, I don't think he wants to spend another dime on a company that he shut down. So I get that. So there was a company that had to be paid, servers and there was a company that had to be paid just to maintain and keep the site up and active. So I think it was a matter of just not wanting to pay them if the company was going to be dissolved. It's my accent. Well, chicks do dig accents. I think my daughter's married. She's been married to a gentleman from Sydney, Australia. True story. Since 2016, but her only serious boyfriend that I remember before that was from Netherlands. So she always liked accents. I think she even had a T-shirt that says I love boys with accents. So yeah, but I mean, as guys, I'm sure a lot of you hear a certain type of accent. Like for me, it's a Spanish accent. You hear a French accent or Spanish accent or Italian accent, whatever, maybe an Asian accent. And you're like, oh boy, some of us really like to hear that because it's exotic. It's different from what we hear all day long around us. All I hear is Boston accents all day long. Mike says, my ex had me give her Loraballin shots while taking Stenox. See, they don't know what those things are. So Loraballin was a veterinary version of Decadurabolin. I believe it was produced in Mexico. I used it. It was 50 milligrams per milliliter. So you had to put a lot of that damn oil in to get the right dose. To get 200 milligrams of the drug, you needed 4 cc's. A full standard syringe is 3 cc's. So Loraballin and Stenox. What was Stenox? Was that Winstrol? I don't even know what Stenox was. I never used it. I heard about it all the time, but I wasn't using it back then. But yeah, so Mike was had a bodybuilder ex-girlfriend. Obviously, if a woman's muscular, you're not going to see too many muscular women with men who aren't muscular. You're not. A lot of the times I see these women that are really jacked, and because women have this intrinsic desire to want to feel small or to feel protected. So they're with really big dudes, not always like bodybuilders, but a lot of times they're well over 6 foot, power lifters or strongmen type of build, big burly guys, usually beards, just super masculine, big, strong guys. They're not with little wimpy guys. I can't recall ever seeing, if I did, it was probably she was just hanging around him like as a sugar daddy thing for the money. Seeing a really muscular woman with a guy who was, didn't even work out. Shit went down when they stole my GH. Who stole your GH, Giles? Oh, Plenty of Fish. That was the dating app that you used. Yeah, that's another one. I forgot about it. I don't even know if that one's still around. I think you also have Christian Mingle, which is a dating site for only Christians, which these days probably is, there's probably not that many of them. Religion's become kind of like, it's crazy. This country, I don't start a whole rant, but this country was, founded by Puritans. And for many, many, many years, everybody had to go to church on Sunday for like hours at a time. And if you didn't go to church, if you weren't religious, you were like the outcast. They would call you a witch. But even later, you were not really considered part of the society. You were looked down upon. You were like a scourge. And now it's people don't go to church anymore. I think there's still parts of the U.S. where a lot of people go to church, and the whole families go every Sunday and everything. But a lot of areas, you're kind of looked at as weird if you go to church now. It's crazy. Oh, those videos coming up soon? Yeah, so check that out, guys. Check out Xavier's channel if you're not already subscribed. Tons of great content, desktop bodybuilding. And 2 episodes I filmed with him Friday night that are coming up soon. That guy, Jose Raymond, is funny as fuck. Yeah, F-fuck, oops. Yeah, I mean, humor goes a long way too. Women do like to laugh. It breaks down the walls. It's a great icebreaker. if you're genuinely funny, you know, corny jokes and stupid one-liners, those don't go very far. But if you're genuinely have good rapport, good comedic sense of timing, you know, women love to be. I've seen not only him, but I've seen so many guys where they'll sit there and like make fun of a woman in a funny way, a joking way, where they're not really making fun of her. And you'll see the girls just like giggling. They eat that up. You know, they're not really putting down like in a mean way, but they'll be saying, "Oh, so you know, I like you, but I think your friend's cuter," or something like that. You know, things like that. Some women will get obviously offended no matter how it's, but if it's delivered by a good-looking guy, you know, the difference between a compliment or flirting and harassment, sexual harassment, is typically how the guy looks. The same guy could say, if a really good-looking guy comes up, there's memes. There's so many memes about this. I'm not claiming to have figured this out all on my own. It's a really good-looking guy on one side, and you know, Wilford Brimley, an older, not so good-looking guy on the other side. And they're both saying that dress looks great, sexy on you. And under the good-looking guy, it says this is a compliment, and with the other guy, it says this is sexual harassment. So it's all in the eye of the beholder. Good morning. This is Jen Gerisi. I was hoping we would have one female. No offense, guys. I love my viewers. I appreciate you all being here so much. Believe me. But it's a sausage fest here, guys. Let's be real. It's a sausage fest. So thank you for a female perspective. I like muscles. Yeah. I mean, when we talk about like what men like, someone will say, well, some men like, you know, really like morbidly obese women, and some guys like anorexic. Those are the outliers. You know, people always want to look at the exception rather than the rule. As humans, we're just hardwired to look for the best genetics. I'm not talking about bodybuilding genetics, just like the healthiest genetics. And those are signaled by, you know, when we see women, healthy genetics, someone that's going to be a viable producer of offspring, typically has that hourglass shape, you know, childbearing hips, breasts, hips, thighs. They're not super skinny. They're not obese. They're just right. And then when women are looking at guys, the best genetics, typically, they'll be taller. They'll have wide shoulders, usually a more narrow waist, just like an athletic build. Someone that in the old days would have been the leader of the tribe, the cave tribe, or whatever, the savannah, wherever the heck we were living back in those. Oh, okay. So Giles is still talking about Plenty of Fish dating app. Said bullet points of all the weird sexual stuff they were into. No thanks. Came right off its true. Well, I would have just stayed on there for the entertainment value, just because, oh, wow, that's interesting. She likes this and that. Yeah. I mean, I know they can get very specific in their demands, but, you know, as somebody with all the options, the women can do that because they could say, okay, I want a guy who's at least 6 foot, he earns at least 6 figures, has a nice car. They could put any, you know, he's hung like a horse. They can ask for anything they want. And there's enough guys in the pool of guys coming at them that they're still going to have a lot of options that fit any criteria they come up with. But yeah, that's interesting, Giles. I didn't know Plenty of Fishers like that. I didn't know because some of them have reputations. Like eHarmony is one of the ones I see commercials. I haven't been on dating apps. I'm just, you know, speaking as this third-party observer. But I see the TV commercials. eHarmony.com. You know, they have like the most successful rate of marriages that come out of it or something, because they make people get very detailed as far as their hobbies, interests, qualifications, whatever. It's like a resume. And so they're only going to match up with other people who are really close to what they're looking for, I guess. So it's a little classier, probably costs more money, I'm guessing. Whereas something like Tinder, I think that's looked at as like the lowest of the low, where it's a hookup site. You know, people will say, like I said, listen to what people do, not what they say. Actions, not words. Women, a lot of women, the first thing they say on Tinder, I have seen Tinder. I've seen it. It says, not here for hookups. But what do? They hook up because they're hoping, you know, guys, and the guys will pretend they're not looking for hookups either. Of course they're looking for hookups. How many guys on Tinder you think are looking for like their wife or the mother of their children on Tinder? But the women, you know, they want to believe in their hearts of hearts that these guys are looking for something serious, and, you know, they'll go over to the house and Netflix and chill, and they think they're going to be the woman. They'll change that guy, just like they see in the movies. He's going to change his player ways and settle down and be treasure her and honor and protect her and provide for her and all that. Yeah, dating apps. Mike says, we had to have game back in the day. But I still think it was better face-to-face. I've heard so many men in comments on like these red pill videos say, on dating apps, your chances they're almost zero unless you're an awesome looking guy. You're completely wasting your time. Nothing is going to come out of a dating app for you. Nothing. You're not going to get one date. Or maybe you'll get some woman that just wants you to buy her dinner because she's hungry. You'll never see her again unless you keep buying her dinner and you're happy with feeding this woman for as long as she wants to be fed. But a lot of guys say face-to-face still works because all you're seeing on a dating app is a picture. And like I said, unless you're really good looking, you're screened out immediately. In real life, your personality comes into play, your charisma, your confidence, other things can come into play. You have a lot more opportunity to show your full self in real life versus a picture on a telephone that somebody, an iPhone, an Android that someone's looking at. So when Mike says we had to have game back in the day, I know. I mean, I didn't do badly. I wasn't single for long. I know I married very young. I was 21, but a couple of years before that, I was doing pretty well. Considering now, I think it would be a lot more difficult now than it was back then because I think women they have way more options. They sort of excluded most of the men, and I don't think I had much game, and I don't think I was great looking. I was muscular. I trained, and I had a pretty decent body for a young guy. But I wasn't like a supermodel or anything, and I don't think I had great game. I didn't have great game, but I did okay. I did okay before I met my wife. Anyway, let's keep going. Sahil Khan will be buying MD. I heard he's a big money guy from India. He sponsors Olympia as well. He has My Fitness, Peanut Butter, and Divine Nutrition Company. I mean, you'd think I would have heard that, Arnold. I mean, but I haven't heard that. If so, that's great. I don't know if he's looking for any old employees or not. I mean, I'm talking to a couple other people about brand new things that have obviously nothing to do with MD. So I've already moved on, under the assumption that MD's a big piece of history and is never coming back. But even if I'm not a part of it, I'd still love to see somebody buy the company and take it into the modern era. Somebody who has maybe a younger guy, somebody who has vision and can really take it to where it could be. I think it still has a lot of potential, the brand, the YouTube channel, everything, where somebody could take it and really run with it if they had a great group of people, a great team, and they were very media savvy, very social media savvy, very YouTube savvy. Somebody like that could really take MD, take the company and turn it into something even better. Does body count matter? Well, put that into your search bar on YouTube and good Lord, a lot of videos will come up, thousands and thousands of videos. So women don't think body count matters. It's a whole other topic. I'm not a red pill manosphere podcaster. That's not me. I don't want to take that role because I'm not qualified, but I do watch a lot of the videos. So a lot of women now have what we would consider high body counts. I mean, when I was like in the 18 to 25 range, if a woman of that age had slept with more than 10 men, she was considered a slut, S-L-U-T, a hoe, a whore. We really looked down. That was considered a lot of guys to have slept with back then. Now, that's nothing. There's a lot of girls now. I don't know about most. I don't know the stats, but I think that's pretty typical for a girl graduating high school to have already had 10 different guys. In college, some of them get ran through in college, but they might have a body count of 100 by the time they get out of college. And if they stay single throughout their 20s and sort of just play the field where there's no relationships, they're just hooking up with dating apps and bars and stuff. Easy to have a woman by the end of her 20s with 100 or more. It's not unusual at all. Whereas back in the day, that would have been like, oh my God, is she a prostitute? No, this is just the new norm. Body count matters to men. Women don't seem to care as much because if a guy has a high body count, because it is harder for men to accumulate a high body count, you have to be good looking or have game or both. It's not as easy for men to sleep with women as it is for women to sleep with men. I think that's obvious. I think we all know that. I don't need to explain or defend that statement. So if a man has had a lot of partners, a high body count, he's been very successful. He's got something that most men don't have. Most men don't have those looks or that charisma, that status. there's something that he has that allowed him access to, that gave him access to all those women, sexual access. Whereas a woman doesn't need to do anything special. A woman can walk into any bar, club, walk up to 20 guys, say, "You're really cute. Would you like to come home with me?" How many guys, especially even if she's not that great looking, a lot of guys will be like, "Yeah, all right, okay, let's go." Whereas, a guy, an average looking guy, tries that, he's going to strike out probably 100 times out of 100. Even a really good looking guy, if he's that forward and goes up to all the women, he's not going to have a 100% success rate. I don't know if I think they've done studies where that guy will have like a 10% success rate, and the woman in that scenario where she's approaching strange men, asking if they want to have sex, has like a 90% success rate. So that's why body count matters more. For women, a guy with a high body count, they'll say that's gross or it's disgusting, but they tend to gravitate toward those men because those are the men with the characteristics, both physical and in the way they act, the way they hold themselves, that are attractive to women. So yeah, but as men, biologically, evolutionarily, we say that one reason why biologically we are repulsed by women with high body counts is because we'd never be sure of paternity. If a woman has slept with all these dudes, if she's sleeping with a lot of guys at once, it's very common now for young single women to be sleeping with multiple men at the same time. Not so common for men because it's much harder for men. It's only that small group of men at the top of the food chain. But if the woman has slept with 4 or 5 other dudes in the same month that you got her pregnant, how would you know that was your baby? Obviously, you'd have to take a paternity test. We have the technology to do that. I'm not saying we don't. But, just intrinsically, innately, we were like, oh, it's not cool because men still tend to value youth, purity, and of course, good looks in women. Whereas women, they do tend to like looks, but they're also looking for status, power. It's not just physical with women. So a lot of men they will have sex with a woman with a high body count. Of course they will. Men will not turn down sex. It's just it's very rare. It's like, because men are horny creatures. We have all this testosterone. So they will have very, very casual flings, one night stands, or she's just like a friend with benefits, somebody they see just for sex. They would never get into a serious relationship, give their time, energy, and money to a woman that's probably sleeping with a bunch of other dudes. Like, why would you be supporting this woman, giving her gifts, taking her on vacations, doing all this when you know that there are other guys who aren't doing any of that for her and they're still getting the sexual benefits from her? Most men would just get very insulted by that because we don't like to pay full price for something that someone else got for free. I hate to make it sound like women are just like this, an object or something, but this is how men think, and maybe not consciously, but at least on a subconscious level. It's like when women make certain guys wait. If they think a guy is boyfriend material or husband material, a lot of times they will make him wait for weeks or months before they have sex with him. Whereas they've had sex with many other men on the first date or the second date because they saw no future. They weren't interested in any future, but they want this guy to think they're more pure. So it's called, what is it called? When they're pretending to be pure? There's a phrase for it, but very common. Like I said, I watch these videos and they just sort of point out male and female nature. I know it doesn't always apply to all men and all women, but there are certain trends. Giles says, I was a born-again virgin before I met Lady T. That's good. That's good. So you put your hymen back? We don't have hymens as men, but that's a good one. That guy 6 says, I've had good luck on dating apps. The last one I was with, I met on a dating app. Funny thing is, we didn't even match. She reached out, messaged me out of the blue. Rest history. That guy 6, let me ask you, are you a very attractive man? And you would, I think we all have a good idea of where we stand. I think men are more realistic where we stand on the scale of attractiveness. We're not as delusional as, a lot of women these days with the filters and the lashes and the makeup and the extensions. They might think that that's what they look like, but that's, if all that makes them an 8, but you take all that away and they're a 5 or something, that's what they really are. But that guy 6, I'm suspecting, and maybe I'm assuming you're a very good looking guy. You're a handsome fella. Tell me if I'm wrong, because otherwise I don't know how you would be that successful. Born again, they're making the joke about being born again virgins. Jen says, I'm happy to be married. Would hate to be out there now. Oh, Jen, it's a shit show. It's all I hear. You know, the funny thing is I hear it from both sides. I hear men saying it sucks because they have no attention. They can't get any attention from women on these dating apps. They can't get any messages. They can't get matches. They message someone, they never hear back. They get ghosted. They meet women for dates and they don't show up. They get ghosted, which is awful. And then I hear from women who are very upset about dating apps saying, oh, there's like no options out there. These guys all suck. It's a bunch of low quality men. Well, I think super high quality men, if you're looking for a guy that's like marriage material, if you're looking for a guy who's like good looking, makes a lot of money, high status, this and that, he's probably not on a dating app. He probably has so many women around him in real life that are constantly coming at him, you know, saying, hitting him up for dates or whatever, that he has no need for a dating app. Yeah, but I think it's awful out there. I would hate to be single right now. I've been married for 32 years. I got married in late June 29th. Oh, kill me, 1991. Yeah, I'm very, very lucky. But I found a great, great woman. Mike says, me too, Jen. It's a mess out there. Yeah. Mike's got his Mandy. She's solid gold. Yeah, I mean, anybody, if you find someone who's just, you really click with, you share a lot of similar values. I don't think it matters about the hobby so much, but someone who really gets you and someone who's going to put up with the good and the bad sides of your personality, whatever, you know, you're so blessed. You're so blessed. Giles said, I got a good one finally. Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes it takes a little while. No disrespect to my exes, of course, all wonderful ladies. Yeah. I mean, I don't really have any exes. I had like one girlfriend before Janet, and it was just a lot of little I guess you'd call them one night things. Yeah. Sometimes I would see them more often, but it was, yeah, they were like there. I wouldn't call any of them relationships. Anyway, that guy also, the girl must be asking if she could use me for OnlyFans film content. She was 7, so I passed. So you must be a good-looking guy, dude. You must be. But yeah, I mean, she was a 7, so I passed. If you're passing on women who are 7 out of 10, you have to be a good-looking dude, because most guys would be like thrilled to get a 7 out of 10. So you must be a 9 or a 10 yourself, I guess. Had some whack jobs. Yeah, there's crazy people, but it's funny because a lot of guys, they say, "Wow, I like crazy girls because they're great in bed," but you don't want to deal with them the rest of the day or not. The rest of the time, they're just a nightmare. They're just awful to deal with. Someone who's crazy, someone who's like bipolar, it's just a lot of work. And I think every guy out there probably has had the experience of some woman who was sexually, you had an awesome connection, great sex. It was mind blowing, but you couldn't stand them the rest of the time. You just couldn't stand them. They were just either annoying or, scary, like, threatening to kill you or something. There's some crazy, crazy people out there. Auto replies taking over the dating websites and apps. Yeah, well, that's unfortunate because, like, again, that's a robot pretending to be a woman to hook the men. They don't have to do anything to hook the women. Women usually join these things for free, the dating apps. A lot of them, I think, just charge men. And so it's like 2 to 3 times more men on the dating apps because they're hopeful. They have hope. Jen says, me too. I'm with Marty for life. Yeah. Like, again, those of us who were employees of MD, we could say this, especially if you're with a partner who sticks with you through thick and thin, for better or worse, through sickness and health, that's golden. You are so blessed. I've been like that. I've been with my wife, Janet, we started dating December of 1989, December 22nd, which was almost 34 years ago. And she has been with me at times when I had no money, when I was unemployed. She's been with me when I had a lot of money, like good amount more than I have now. Or even, when I was making really good money for a while there as a freelance writer for many different magazines. And, we've been through births of children together, deaths of parents. My mom died. Her grandmother died. Jeez, all my aunts. Someone who's been with you through every type of situation and still stands by you. God, you're just, you have to be grateful. You have to know that you're blessed. And I am, for sure. So Jaws is a real tiger. He's not. He's a human being. Never done Tinder. Always hate that idea of meeting someone by phone app. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like shopping. You're basically shopping for a human being on there. I mean, you're you're breaking someone down into a picture on a phone. That's all they are. They're just, well, you're shopping. Like, nope, 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 nope. Which way is yes, left or right? I don't know. Swiping left. Left means you don't like them. That's just keep looking. And then right means it's a match, I think, on Tinder. Is Tinder the only one that has swiping? I think so. I don't know. Maybe other words. Maybe other dating apps also have swiping. I mean, it's a really cool concept when you think about it. It's awful that we're reducing human beings to a picture. You know, a lot of women say they'll immediately reject a guy if he has a picture holding a fish or just like a selfie. You know, women will reject because they have so many options. They have 1,000 guys coming at them like every day, some of them, 1,000. They need to have screening. So they will screen men out for anything like, oh, his profile picture is a selfie that he took. Nope. Or he's like, he's showing off his muscles. Nope. A fish. Nope. You know, a million different reasons to exclude majority of men because they have to try to find a way to, you know, make their selection process easier. Whereas men don't care if a woman's good looking, reasonably good looking, she could be holding a steaming pile of dung. And the guy's like, all right, oh, well, I'll give her a try anyway. Because guys, we don't have the standards that women do. We just don't. When they say guys will F anything, it's kind of true. It's kind of true. Even that's why you'll see when they say Netflix and chill and like Tinder, a lot of these guys, they'll select women. They'll try to match with women that are much less better looking than them just because they know it's an easy catch. These women will be flattered that this great looking guy is interested in them and she'll go over to the house and she'll do anything sexual he wants. He doesn't have to buy her dinner, doesn't have to take her anywhere. She delivers herself like a pizza, 30 minutes or less to his door. Bam, sex for however long. And then, look, I got to be up early, girl. It was, we had a great time. It was nice meeting you. Wow. Giles says, I met Lady T at my Brandon Curry Olympia tour. Wow. I did not, I think I knew that, but I've forgotten. So Giles has done a bunch of these Olympia tours. I think he did one. The first one I want to say was with Phil Heath. He's done it with Brandon. Did he do it with Ashley Kaltwasser? He's done a few of them. He's gearing up to do a couple more this year where he brings a top Olympia winner usually to various gyms and supplement stores around not only the UK, but different parts of Europe. I think he went to Portugal and Spain with one of the tours. March 2020. Wow. Pandemic year. Of course, Charles, because all the women hit you up on IG and your DMs. That's your dating app. Well, a lot of guys, IG is a dating app for a lot of guys. A lot of people meet on Instagram. That's why they say slide into your DMs. It's very easy. You're going through all these profiles like, oh boy, she's hot, he's hot, whatever. You start messaging and take it from there. If they're in your area or, I know guys, bodybuilders who have, especially the ones who are with companies where they travel a lot, they have to do a lot of, they go to different cities for various things, maybe appearances, whatever. They will have girls in every city. I've known guys who had like women, every time they went to Atlanta, they would see this girl or maybe a couple girls. Every time they went to Miami, it would be a different girl or two. Dallas, they'd have a girl or two. Denver, on and on. Los Angeles. So, and it was all through Instagram. They all met through Instagram. I had 500,000 views. Wow. And 20,000 likes on my Rubiel video. Yeah, Rubiel Nextzilla. It's a big deal. As soon as Lady TME started DMing and talking, I ceased messaging the other ladies immediately. Good for you, Giles. Good for you. You knew she was the one. And, a lot of guys, a lot of guys were greedy. If I was a single guy, I don't know. I was built differently. I was raised by a very, very traditional guy who my late father was born in 1929. I didn't grow up with that player mentality. I never really learned it, but I could see that if I hadn't, I would probably be playing the field and trying to see as many different women as possible at once as I could. Greed. What a greedy baby. Yes is the answer. I think this is Gio to the question, does body count matter? Those say no are being honest. Oh, is that George UK? What's your last name? It's not like Smith, is it? George. I always call you George UK because that was your name on the MD boards. George over there. Great Masters bodybuilder. Great dude on the forums. Oh, wow. I just bought my Arnold UK tickets. See you there. Wow. Yeah, Arnold UK coming up. Samson's doing it. Oh, Rubiel is in the Arnold UK now. Wow. Simpson's new car. It's like, what is it? I didn't look closely at it. It's like a Ferrari or something. I think he got it free from the dealership, like as a sponsorship thing, like a $200,000 or $300,000 car. Nice, really nice car. He put it on his Samson put it on all his socials, his Instagram and his Facebook, if you want to check that out. What's up, Black Kaiser from the movie Polar? Cool action movie. George says, first guy I trained with 39 years ago is meeting me there. Oh, you're talking about a Winnebago. Xavier's a cool guy. Yeah, he is a cool guy. I'm psyched that I finally had the chance to do anything with him, honestly. Oh, it's a McLaren. Okay. It's a Mercedes McLaren sponsored by a car company. Yeah. So the car company gave him the car. Yeah, my gym owner, a Bayshore Athletic Club, Tim Dowling, my gym owner, has a McLaren. I've never driven in it, but it looks really cool. I'm not as goo over luxury cars anymore because my son-in-law has been working in the luxury car business now for a few years. So, you know, they're in Florida now, but when he was living here, he would pull up sometimes and he would just take like a Ferrari out for the day, or he never had a Bugatti, but it was a lot of supercars, a lot of cars that were $100,000 to $300,000 price range, and he would just pull up in the driveway. You'd hear him coming from from down the block with that engine. Still, I'd love to drive one of those. I don't know if I'd be very good at it though. Meyer Bible, how the hell does Sims fit in that car? Good luck. I wonder if they have modified it somehow for him. The dog won't fit in it. Yeah, he's got I used to say Cane Corso. It's called Cane Corso is the actual name of that breed. Very big, cool dog. Scary looking dog. If you know, my dog can be scary looking if people think so. This form still click on accidentally. Yeah. The website is still up and active. I don't know for how much longer. We don't care about sleep. We're freaks. That's a riff on the old Jason Genova. Jason Genova, who was an autistic young gentleman. He can't be that young anymore. From Delray Beach, Florida, who was a bodybuilding YouTube sensation for a few years. But he used to use like the worst form and like way too much weight. And people would always be saying, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to get injured. And he'd say, we don't care about injuries. We're freaks. Well, you'll care once you get injured. Forms are usually free or next to nothing. I don't know. So Mike says, Puerto Rican accent. Ay, mommy. Ay, papi. Yeah, I mean, my wife doesn't have an accent, but, you know, full confession, I think it's not, I don't think anyone who knows me, it's not a secret that I've always had a thing for Latin women, Italian women, just that dark look. Middle Eastern women too. I mean, I guess it's all kind of a similar look with the dark hair and the big eyes and the full lips. But that accent, yeah, I love the accents. It just, I don't know. I can't explain it. Everyone like, share, subscribe, and click notifications. Help make channels. Yes, thank you, Jim, for reminding. Guys, if you're not subscribed, I'm getting this channel going. I want to take it to a level where I can bring back a lot of good content like the Ask Dr. T show. That's the very first thing I want to bring back. I'll be doing interviews again. I've decided against Ron Leonard to come up with a new name. It's keeping it a secret for now. Maybe even contest coverage. It's certainly within the realm of possibility where I could be going to the Arnold, the Olympia, or whatever, New York Pro, and covering it for this channel the way I did on for MD the past few years. But I need your subscriptions. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me out. Hit that like, subscribe. Of course, I just said that. Turn notifications on, all that good stuff. Giles, I'm back. Derek called me. I missed the form too. Yeah, I don't repeat any of Jose's stories because I don't know how many of them are fit for. He could talk about them on his own podcast if he wants, and that's fine. But yeah, like I said, 5'3.5" Jose. But let me tell you, I can't think of anyone I've personally known in my life. Maybe a couple people who are on that level, but certainly I've never known anyone who was better with women as far as just comfortable around them and able to secure, their attention than Jose. Very well. Women love Jose. Cool stuff, Xavier. Good morning. Thoughts on Sam Solik? Well, God bless the kid for all his success. He's very well spoken. I actually do like listening to him. He makes a lot of sense. I don't have any knock on Sam himself at all. I don't. And he doesn't promote steroid use. However, the majority of his fan base is very young because he's huge on TikTok, which is a young person's platform. I don't know the stats, but I would venture to say that most of the people who are on TikTok every day are probably between 12 and 20. I think that's probably reasonable to say. He has a huge following, millions and millions of young kids. They want to look like him. People aren't stupid now. They know you need steroids to look like that. So they want to be him. They want to look like him. I've seen comments on videos where like, does anyone know where he got that hat or those shoes? Because they have to be just like him. They have to wear the same things he wears. So they're going to want to take drugs. They're going to want to look like that by any means possible. And they know what it takes to look like that. And we're talking about a lot of young kids. So he's not promoting steroid use at all personally, but just the fact that he is a huge public figure with this following of mostly young guys, young kids, they're kids who their brains aren't even fully developed. They're not in a place in their life where they should be using PEDs yet, but a lot of them are going to because they want to look like that. It's not his fault. I'm not blaming him. And I don't begrudge him with any of the success he's had. He puts out a lot of great content. I do think he's sending another bad message with the crappy food that he was eating, showing himself eating like cereal all the time, Five Guys, the if it fit your macros type of diet plan where as long as he was getting his protein, carbs, and fat totals for the day, he didn't seem to think it mattered in what form they came or the quality they came, which in the short term and when you're young, you can get away with eating a lot of crap. Do that for more and more years. Now you're clogging up your arteries. You're going to get diabetes, heart disease. Yeah, years and years down the line. But what am I going to do? Tell him, no, you have to only show yourself eating chicken breasts and brown rice. So yeah, and congrats to the guy. 21 years old. He's got a great build on him, and he's got a deal with Hostile. He's got a supplement contract with a major company. So God bless Sam. It says, proud to represent my sex, gender, whatever they call it these days. I don't know what your pronouns are. Pronouns. Mike is cool. Still snowing, Jones. Now they're just talking to each other on the chat. That's fine. My internet search history. That's why we have that things where you got to clear your history. A lot of guys are like, oh no, if I die and somebody sees my search history. I mean, I have a Pornhub tab on mine. Yeah. Poor Betty Owen and Howard. They were on that. X Hamster isn't about hamsters. Yeah, there's a porn site called, I think there's I think it's 3 X's. Or is it just one? I think it is just one. But it's not about hamsters. It's a porn channel like Pornhub. Pornhub would be that's the main one. That's the McDonald's of porn sites. They got more videos than anybody else in there. I'm sure they have way more traffic than anybody else. X Hamster equals Lisa Cross. Lisa Cross is a British bodybuilder. Maybe, I guess she's done some adult content. A lot of them do. A lot of the bodybuilder women, figure women, bikini women, a lot of women in general now, they do adult content on their OnlyFans, like their own private porn. You'll pay $4.99 or $19.99 or a monthly fee, and you have access to see them having sex with either their actual husband or boyfriend or just a bunch of random dudes. Like that guy 6 was saying, women will contact guys they see on Tinder, a good-looking guy, say, oh, you want to be in my only, I'm shooting like a scene. They're going to film their own porn, a sex scene for their OnlyFans. They're going to charge people to see, and they're recruiting, good looking guys. I assume they have a minimum penis requirement. I assume. Cody Jolly, was MD the last muscle magazine? Loved reading it. It was the last one, although Muscle and Fitness has returned. It's going to be quarterly, and I know this because at the Olympia they had copies of the first print issue of Muscle and Fitness that's been around in a couple of years because they stopped printing like 2 or 3, 4 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was, but we were the last magazine there for a while. Just a couple more questions and I'm going to take off. I was going to get big, taking views. What's the best gym pickup line you've ever heard? Good to see you. So Ron, I don't think any line works. Like I said, I think the perception of the line it's going to be taken differently depending on how good looking you are. Like a good looking guy, a really good looking guy, you're a gorgeous guy with a great body. You can come up to a woman doing an exercise and say, hey, can I help you with your form there? And a really good looking guy might get a positive response out of that. He might start talking to her. Whereas, a guy who's not very good looking, the woman might be very offended and, might put you on blast on TikTok or something with that fake voice. This jerk just tried to pick me up by telling me my squat form was wrong. That's the TikTok voice. So I can't say I've ever heard any great pickup lines in general. Like I said, because my hearing is bad, but I've seen people chat others up. Like, I don't know pickup lines because I've been married for 32 years, so I couldn't tell you what a good one is. If you guys have any good ones, put them here or put them in the comments because I'm about to wrap this up. Mike says, I'm glad we didn't have cam phones in the 90s and 2000s. Yeah, would have caught a lot of embarrassing things that will never go away on the internet. George says, I dated someone who got a detailed notebook with scores of everyone she slept with, 17 a year. Then it was me for the following 4 years. Oh, I mean, 17, to me, that would be a lot. I'm sure, like, if you're a single young man now, I don't think you're going to find too many women. You probably find very few that have been with under 10 men. Under 20 might even be tough, very tough these days. An American woman who's past college, who's out of college already, good luck. I mean, it's very common. It's very easy for them. And like I said, the stigma of sleeping with a lot of different men has basically been removed. It's not something that they're ashamed of anymore. They sort of celebrate it and pump each other up about it. I've seen like one where they gave a girl a cake for her 50th body or her 50th guy she slept with. They had a party with cake and candles and everything. I'm not even kidding. Jen says, I can't believe how many guys these young women have had before 30. I just feel it's unhealthy, both physically and emotionally. Well, I totally agree with you, Jen. And, these red pill videos do a much better version of explaining this. So I'm not going to go on for long about this, but studies have shown that women lose their ability to pair bond with men, meaning have a real relationship, emotional connection after a certain amount of men. And the more men a woman has slept with, the greater her chances of divorce. Like if a woman has slept with, I think it was like more than 10 men, maybe it was 20, but I think it was 10. I don't know the stats. Her chances of staying married were only like 15%. Whereas a woman who got married as a virgin, who had nothing to compare it to, they have like an 80 to 90% success rate. They have a very low divorce rate. Because if a woman's been with all these guys, now like no man's ever going to be good enough because she's always going to be thinking, well, this guy's good, but he's not funny like that guy was. Or he's not tall like that guy was. Or this guy really, it's these attributes. In their minds, they want someone who has all the best qualities of all these different guys. And it's not it's like a Frankenstein monster. There's no real man that embodies all those qualities in one person. If they did, he's certainly not settling down. Gotta wrap this up. It's getting late. For a relationship. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't doing the random hookup thing for long. I got married at 21, but I've been very blessed and very fortunate to have my wife in my life. Beautiful inside and out, heart of gold, wonderful mother, wonderful wife. I mean, I'm so lucky, so lucky. Jen says, in this day, there's not enough sexual responsibility on both sides where a lot of young people are concerned. Yeah, I mean, they treat it, sex has sort of been reduced to a recreational activity by a lot of men and women, where it's not looked at as a bonding thing that's sacred. Sex used to be like this sacred thing. Like if you had sex with somebody, like you belong to each other for life. You were bonded for life. That's why a lot of times they would wait till marriage. It was that big a deal. Whereas now it's like, it's just something I'm going to do for fun. That girl, I'm just seeing her for fun. Or girls will sleep with guys they'll pick them off of Tinder or whatever. They have no interest in this guy for a relationship. They just physically, they're attracted to him and they want to feel those good sex feelings and then move on to the rest of their life. You're afraid of getting STD. Yeah, there's a lot of those out there. Dodge that bullet. It's so crazy, Mike. No accidental kids either. Random hookups. Lead to more than you want. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any free lunch. Like I said, I think women get emotionally damaged from all these guys. If they sleep with a bunch of guys and they're expecting a lot of these guys to call them back or attempt to start a relationship and they don't, when they see that a lot of these guys were purely seeing them as a sexual object to serve their needs and to just gratify them sexually, they start to feel like a piece of meat over time. And, I don't think anyone I don't think too many people would feel good about themselves if they realized all that men see them as is something, a vagina, or just a night of using their body for fun. And even guys, I don't know. I think these guys that are really running through a ton of women, they're having a great time. But at the same time, I'm sure they're still having a lot of these women who are upset at them and are, they probably have to block a lot of women. They might get stalked by women or threatened, or, they have to deal with a lot of these women coming at them later that are upset because they didn't realize that they were just for fun. They didn't realize these guys had no intentions beyond sex with them. No child support and healthy. Yeah. A lot of single moms, like, it's very difficult for them if they are high earners. Yeah. I mean, the family unit in the United States is falling apart. We have, 3 times more single mother households now than we did 50 years ago. It's tough. It's tough on the kids. The stats show that children in single parent households perform poorly in school. They're at risk for drug addiction, crime. They're high risk for so many things. There are a lot of great single moms out there, and there are a lot of kids raised by single moms who did very, very well in life, but you're giving them 2 strikes against that kid. You're putting them in a position where they're at a disadvantage to a lot of other kids, whether you believe it or not. Must have own teeth. Teeth are important. Giles is getting the fellatio references here. Don't use your teeth. Lots of trainings on dating apps now. You know what's odd? I always had the most, like I said, gay men, whenever I would go out, especially if I was in shape, I would get attention from gay men, but trans, I don't know if they were trans or they were just like drag queens, whatever they were. Those are the ones that seem to be the most attracted to me for some reason. Maybe they're the ones who like muscles more than anybody else, is trans women or drag men and drag, gay men in drag. I don't know. Josh says, I lived in Newcastle for 14 years. Friendliest, most sociable place on earth. The easiest place to meet the ladies. It was the top of the food chain. Branchworm picked his wife up in the gym. Apparently went up. Yeah, I met my wife in the gym, 1989. It was a little over 30. I think it was like October of 89. She joined the gym. I was a trainer at one of the trainers. We weren't real trainers. We were just salesmen. But we would take people through their workouts on a workout card. I met her in the gym, and I would take her through her workouts. And me and this other guy would fight. When she walked in, me and this other guy would fight over who got to take her workout card and train her, because he liked her too. He actually went on a date with her before I did. She didn't care for him at all. Dennis. And then I got the guts up to finally ask her out in December. I had already known her for a couple months at that point. And the rest is history. I've been with her ever since. But yeah, I met her in a gym. Yeah. European health spa. Not much of a gym. Not very hardcore. He said, you're going to be my wife? Well, I could tell you my exact. So Janet worked at that time. She was 18 years old. She was about to turn 19 like a week later. But she was 18. She worked in a grocery store. Was it Star Market? Stop and Shop? It was one of those. It was a supermarket. She worked in that, like the customer service booth. They had bars on it and everything. It was kind of a rough neighborhood in Boston. And I drove up there one night out of the blue, and she was there with another girl she worked with. And I went up to her, and she's like, I could see the expression on her face, like, what the hell are you doing here, psycho? But I said, me and you, Janet, what do you think? And she was really taken aback. I think she's like, what do you mean? I said, what are you doing tomorrow night? She's like, nothing. And that was our first date, was the next night. And our second date was the next night. And, we got married in June of 90. We were engaged November of 90, less than a year later, and married 7 months after that, June of 91. Giles says, I've met my last 5 girlfriend relationships at bodybuilding events going back 2000. Yeah, I mean, we tend to meet people that share our interests, our hobbies, our values at things, things like that. So if you're a bodybuilder, you probably have a much better chance of meeting someone you're compatible with, either at the gym, probably at the gym, because that's someone, a woman who shares your passion for training, eating healthy and all that, takes care of herself. She would appreciate a guy that does the same. Or a bodybuilding event. Clearly, that's a small, like a niche market, people that go to bodybuilding events. So that makes sense. Jen says, marriage is going through the storm, still hang on tight to each other. It's not about the good, it's about hanging on when it's bad too. Yeah, a lot of people just look for the exit. As soon as things get tough, it's a lot easier to just walk out, walk away, than to stay there and work on things. So that goes for anything in life. it's easier to quit a tough job than it is to stay there and try to figure out how to make it work. So yeah, marriage is a lot of work. So if you meet people that they're happily married for 20, 30 years beyond 40, 50, that was a lot of work. They went through some shit. You can be damn sure they went through some shit. My wife and I have probably come close to divorce, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 times, many times, usually through dumb shit that I was doing, but we stuck it out. Thank God. Many people don't take marriage seriously now. Well, marriage rates are now the lowest they've ever been, which shouldn't be any surprise. Childbirth rates are the lowest they've ever been in the U.S. I don't know about the rest of the world. I think it's coming down everywhere. But marriage rates are way down. People don't want to get married. Men don't want to get married as much anymore because it's so risky for men now. I mean, they see the way the court systems are set up with family courts and everything. Judges will typically take the women's side. A lot of guys end up losing their homes. They got to give her half the income. The wife gets either full custody of the kids or majority custody. So a lot of guys, they don't see the point in getting married. I mean, a lot of guys will say stuff like, what advantage do I have by marrying a woman versus being in just a relationship? And it's really hard to think. Well, think about it. What's the difference? What do you get out of being married as a man now that you don't get out of just having a girlfriend? You could file a joint tax return. It's really about it. I can't think of anything, but the risk is tremendous because once you're married, you're financially bonded to that person. And if you're a guy and you make a lot more money than your wife, she wants to divorce, you're going to be losing a lot of money that you spent your years and years of your life getting to that point where you could make that money. So yeah, it doesn't make sense. Mike says, me and Mando had shit times, good times. She's an angel for dealing with me. Oh, my wife's a saint for putting up with my monkey ass all these years. Giles says, look how long it got me through these last 2 years, losing both my parents within a few months of each other, I might add. Right? Or was it a year? There was a year apart. His heart surgery. Yeah, Lauren is a keeper. It took Giles until his late 40s to find, or was his mid 40s when he met her, find the one. Or I don't think there's just one person for everyone. That's ridiculous on a planet of 8 billion people. But to find the person who you can really be compatible with and someone who you can really stay with all those years and make a good life together with, it's not easy. Jen said it's not easy, but it's important. Marty and I have had rough patches where we thought it could end. We pushed through and fought back and you go 16 years. Yeah. I mean, it's a good feeling to be with someone who's been with you through things like that. Because like I said, a lot of people, when things get tough, a lot of people will just run for the hills. They don't want to deal with it. The easiest thing is just to run away. So, you know what? This isn't working out for me, or I'm not happy anymore. And, looking for another person to make you happy is the wrong strategy. It's the wrong way to think about it. You have to make yourself happy. You have to be a happy person. Happiness doesn't come from another person making you happy. So I think a lot of people have that idea about marriage, especially women. They think the man's got to make them happy or keep them happy. And that's an impossible situation to put another human being in. George says, I understand why young men have dating people from Thailand, Far East. Yeah, they call them passport bros because in those parts of the world, women are still very traditional. At least a lot of them are, where they are looking to settle. They are looking for marriage and monogamous relationships and a family, even at a young age, where a lot of women in the U.S. especially, they've been conditioned to believe that they deserve to have like their 20s and maybe even their 30s to have all the fun they want, focus on their career, their friends, have a lot of random casual sex with a lot of guys and just live it up. Then they can settle down. And, like I said, a guy who's 35, 40, who spent his whole life building wealth, building his confidence, building himself up as a man. Now he's at the point where women are coming after him. He's got options. And he's coming, when women come at him who are 35, 40, the women that passed him up years ago, they wouldn't give him the time of day when he was poor, when he didn't have the confidence. He was invisible to them. But now that they've been run through and they've been with a million guys, and now they want someone who's a nice, reliable guy with money and status and take care of me and treat me well. He's like, screw you. You didn't want me in your prime, but now I'm supposed to want you in your decline, because it takes a man. years and years to build that value for himself where he's attractive to women, typically, where a woman is born with that value. Usually by the time she's 16 or 18 years old, she's got all this male attention, all these guys coming after her, inviting her out on boats. Hey, come to my VIP table, have some champagne. Andrew Tate, I'm not a huge Andrew Tate fan, but he talks about that. He says, you see all these 18, 19, 20-year-old girls on yachts, billion-dollar yachts, I don't know, $100 million yachts, big boats. He said, you know how I got on the yacht? I had to buy the fucking yacht. So there you go. Nobody was inviting me on yachts. No hot chicks were inviting me on yachts when I was 20 years old. First marriage is less than a year. Oh, yeah. I'm still on my first marriage, but this is the only one for me. Mauro, are you the father of? Oh, Maury. That's Maury Povich, I think you're talking about. Yeah, it was a good dude back then. I think we've all of us who are 50 and over. Giles not there yet, but Mike just turned 50. Giles is close to 50. We're much, much different people. We've grown and matured and changed. I am not the guy I was when I was 21. Even when I was 30, I was a jerk off. I mean, a lot of the reasons I came close to divorce, it was me and my freaking arrogance and my greed. Marty's my first, last, and only before I dodged 2 bullets. Yeah. Marty's your man. That's awesome. Oh, Goku. We're not talking about Nick Walker now. Dang it. That's a different show. Okay, that guy 6 finally has an answer because I got to wrap this up. I'd say I'm decently attractive. I've been told that I am. 6 foot, 225 tattoos. We're done here. That guy 6, we're done. You're that guy. Lean, been buying for 20 years. I don't do dating apps anymore because too distracting. If I meet women now, it's in person. That woman that messed me out of the blue turned out to be crazy. Sex was good, but she was nuts. I think every guy would say that about someone. Sex was great, but she was nuts. Come to your own UK around. Well, if I can get a sponsor, I'm certainly not paying out of my own pocket to go there. I'll tell you that. I met a bunny boiler. That's in reference to the movie Fatal Attraction when Phil Heath UK tour. Crazy. Yeah, Jen says, stay tuned. We're Jen and I are talking. Jen's going to be working with me on this channel. Thank you, Jen. Appreciate it so much. And we'll be getting sponsors, and contest coverage is something that's very, very likely in the very near future. But some details have to be worked out. Solicast, 2.1 million subs on YouTube. Wow. I think Medua did a podcast about him. That's a lot. That's incredible because he's probably only had this channel for a year or so, I'm guessing. He's 21 years old. Media. Oh, you mean Patrick Bett? What's his show called? What's Patrick Bet David's show called? I get like text messages from him. I should know this off the top of my head. Sam Silk is fine. My eyes very easy to listen to. Yeah, he's a very well-spoken kid. He doesn't take himself too seriously. I like listening to him. I do watch some of his views. 300K views on his vids. There you go. I mean, he's doing something very right. People are drawn to him. They like the way he looks, his personality, his content, what he has to say. It's very appealing. No thumbs, no fancy editing. He blows up. Plus hot sauce, no shit. Yeah, I mean, that just shows you. He could just do a video talking in his car for 20 minutes, just talking. You're not seeing any fancy editing, any crazy backdrops or neon signs in the back. I've seen there's a lot of channels where the content is really good. It's just a person and a blank white wall behind them. There's nothing. But it's the message. It's the content that they're delivering. It's great. It's golden. It's people flock to it. Oh, I got to eat soon, guys. Watch this space. Thank you, Giles. Giles says, when I was a month in hospital in Ireland, Lauren was by my side 10 hours every single day. Bring extra foods last meal of the day, 4 p.m. Wow. That's a keeper. That is a class act. I totally agree. I'm not going to Rubiel. I got to get the heck out of here. Am I going to go on ARC's future associated with Black? I'm going to make that impossible. I don't have an association with Steve anymore. Double M. I've had this crazy thing like, oh, you're afraid Steve's going to reprimand you, or it's not. It's my own personal. I talked about this on Desktop Bodybuilding that should be coming out soon. Steve and John and RX, they did a hatchet job on MD for 15 years. They were let go almost 15 years ago, and they've spent all the time since then blasting MD, laughing about it, mocking it, making fun of Steve, whatever. That's the guy that signed my paychecks. But they also made my job more difficult because, especially once I took on the online editor job, my job was to build the brand, build the channel, this and that, have it be successful. Meanwhile, they're over on the channel saying MD sucks, MD's not relevant, MD's in the toilet. That's the company I was working for and representing. So no, it's nothing personal against Dave, and it's not because I'm afraid of Steve or what Steve will think or say or do. It's just, it's a thing I'm not comfortable and I don't want to do it. There's no benefit to me doing it. Maybe I might get some more subscriptions on my channel just because people are more aware of it. It's not even worth it to me. They spent so much time making fun of Steve in a childish way with puppets and just talking so much shit about the company that I worked for, even though to their credit, they never, to my knowledge, never said anything bad about me personally. But the way they spoke about the company had an effect on me because I was working for that company and they were devaluing my company. And, you know, I always used to, many times I said, Steve, why don't you sue them get them a gag or something? Because they're, you know, that's hurting the company. That's hurting our bottom line. Telling people how shitty our company is every day. That's not good for the advertisers to hear. You know, anybody that we're trying to do business with, it's putting us in a bad spot. But anyway, yeah, you're too late to the party, Mark. So I've been going there for, almost 2 hours here. Good Lord. But I appreciate you stopping by. Same one for over 12 years. Awesome. Same month I did my first show. Blair White equals Tran. Looks great. Not the mental sunset here from the blue hair. Oh, Blair White is a Tran that's not into that crazy woke crap. Oh gosh, where am I? I've gone way too far down. Oh, there we go. Double M. Yeah, we're not talking about. Yeah, guys, I'll do an Ask Ron in a few days for all the random questions. So please put your notifications on. I got to wrap this up, but we've been just talking about women, relationships, what they like, muscular guys. Yeah, I think that's it. There you go. That's another thing George just brought up. Dave P spoke shit about Peter McGuff once. That was the end for me. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap it up after this. So if you're commenting after that, I apologize. I'm going to wrap it up. But 2017 was the first year. January 2017, the end of the month, I was hired for the job on MD Online Editor, and I was in charge of all the contest coverage and content for the YouTube channel and all that. So the very first show I covered in that job was the 2017 Arnold Classic. We had an incident backstage where both myself and Palumbo were trying to interview the 212 winner, Ahmad Ashkenani, at the same time. We were both trying to get him to come over to our area. And while we were interviewing, somehow it was Sean Ray and myself. I think Sean was doing the interviews. Yeah. Sean was interviewing Ahmad, and Dave rushes into the interview with his microphone and starts trying to interview Ahmad on our channel while he's doing that. And Peter came over. I think Peter, who was fighting cancer, the late Peter McGuff, God bless his soul. Love that man dearly. I think Peter said something like, "It's not about you. It's about the athletes, Dave." There might have been a little shove involved. I don't even remember. But Dave came out and said, "Well, Peter was drunk. He was working drunk," which was not true. Peter was going through chemotherapy at the time, fighting for his life, and Dave was accusing him of being a drunk and being drunk while he was working with MD there backstage at the Arnold Classic that year. So that left a really bad taste in my mouth. That was so not cool. So yeah, that's a good point. I almost forgot about that, George, but yeah, that was not cool. I mean, that was the end. Because everybody loved Peter. He was a wonderful, warm, generous man. Oh God, the greatest writer, reporter that the sport ever will have. Wonderful human being. I used to call him, and especially that first year or two when I had the job, in my moments of doubt, I would call him. He was always there for me. Very encouraging, kind of like a father figure to me because I lost my father very young. I miss him dearly. And for Dave to disparage him and throw that accusation, which was false, he wasn't drunk. I would have smelled alcohol on him. It wasn't cool. So I will not go on RX. And that, if you don't, if that bothers you, oh well, too bad. RX will be fine without me. I'll be fine without RX. Let them do their thing. Anyway, guys, I need to wrap it up. I need to eat because I'm a bodybuilder and I'm going to the gym with my beautiful wife, Janet, in a couple hours. So I need to get another great meal in. So appreciate you guys all for joining me on this chat for, oh gosh, almost 2 hours on a Sunday morning or Sunday evening. And some of you guys in Europe, or geez, in the case of Xavier, it was Monday morning technically. So thanks. Please, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out. Doesn't cost you anything. Turn on the notifications so you know when we're going live. I will be bringing you a lot more great content on this channel. So please stay tuned. Have an awesome day. Appreciate it. Talk to you guys later.